Welcome back, everybody. We've got more NECC action here. We're starting off here on the B stream today, here, V, as we get R6 ready to go underway. Bit of a technical difficulty across both streams, so to say, of missing a couple games here and there. But we got the best one, which is you and me on broadcast, so who can truly complain?
Of course. Yeah, with Concordia, Wisconsin versus MKE Esports, the greatest logo known to Siege Esports. I think we will see it when we cut to rosters, which we can actually do right now. Tell you who's on the team, get straight into the games eventually. And well, with Concordia, they've been on stream a couple times. We've seen, I believe, Sonar, Jawbreaker, and Stepbro with the letters spelled out. That's a unique name.
It's also a very unique lineup in general. Also joining the foray, here's Augie and K9 Vacuum, by the way, for those who are watching and maybe not reading along at home. I know some people don't like to do that. I'll say it out loud for you. Very undecided overall for their college majors, which I usually would say you got a lot of time to figure that one out, but there's a senior and a junior in there as well. So honestly, you know what? You do you. College can be fun if you really enjoy the experience. Go all the town. But we have one computer science person. That is, of course, STEP_BRO. I'm going to eventually just say Stepbro, but I'll dig on it for being spelled out at the very least. Go ahead and take a look over at MKE Esports and take a look at that logo you were talking about as well. Wow. What a pretty picture. If I did not know what the logo was going to look like, and that was the last thing I expected, actually. I was expecting some really cool Photoshop image. V has lied to me through her teeth, unfortunately.
What do you mean? That's cool.
Yeah, great, actually. My bad. I just don't understand artistry. I think that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
A somewhat older roster, though, for MKE Esports, as there's 3 juniors and a senior, so 4 upperclassmen out of 5. It's Sharkbait, Hazer, Assured Legend, Danny Destructo, and Roundy joining into the foray. And much like the computer science major we had over on Concordia University, we have 2 here for the side of MKE as the Battle of Wisconsin gets underway.
There's a lot of computer science majors.
It's a very popular
Rainbow
major.
Six. Yeah, I mean, but honestly, that's not too surprising. It's computers. I think that just applies overall to all people who play video games. Taking a look at the maps where we are headed for this best of 3, very pretty important as we see the bands that go through and the maps that are picked. Border, Clubhouse, Cafe. I think that Border will be an interesting first map given the, I think, uniqueness of it out of this entire map pool.
Well, I would initially say that Concordia is not making any friends with me as they picked Border as that first map, but I feel like the biggest and most obvious glaring thing that kind of makes me not want to root for you, MKE banning Chalet. That is by far my favorite map in all of existence for R6. Seeing that one get banned when it was so close to being that decider map, that may edge out Concordia over MKE, despite the fact that Border is our first one. And a map like Border can be somewhat difficult for, I would say, lower ranked teams here in the NECC. We were down in the Emergence Division for this matchup, so maybe a typical concern to be had. Concordia's coming into this one with a 2-1 scoreline, V. They won against Hood Blazers in week 1. They won last week against Platteville. It did take them 3 maps to do so, and that Platteville name may be a bit recognizable to some of the MKE Esport fans as well, as their first and only victory they've had in this season so far was in week 1 against Platteville, and they dominated them. I believe it was 7-4, 7-3, a very solid stat line. 7-1, even worse. They dominated. So statistically speaking, we can say, hey, MKE may have a worse stat line, but at least they took it down in 2 and didn't even allow a full map of rounds to go against them when facing Platteville. But that was also just week 1, and things can change, and Platteville could have improved miles and leaps in between week 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, we're definitely far enough into the season where any changes that have been made from week 1 have probably been implemented. So we'll have to see if there are any little changes that might help MK kind of get out of that little rut that they're in 1 and 2. Not cement themselves as some of the lower teams in the division. Going through this ban phase, I think Dekebi is the only one that maybe will stick out for some people, but to be honest, it's not too surprising. She's a good anti-roam. She's got that DMR. She's got just a lot of utility that people have to be aware about. And taking her off the board makes it just a little easier overall, but the Clash ban, the ranked ban, I can't remember the last time I've seen a Clash ban in competitive seed, collegiate seeds, anywhere outside of like unranked games.
Well, she who will not be named is not a part of this lineup at the very least. So there is something exciting about this one, as we don't have to deal with that. Though, I mean, it's border. You're not going to see it anywhere, CRV.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
like, you say we won't see her anywhere. We weren't gonna see her in the first place.
Yeah, it's an odd one to be sure. And I also think the Thatcher band at the very beginning was slightly odd. Yeah, it is still somewhat popular on some maps, but I don't think Border is a typical go-to map for Thatcher for a lot of teams, especially if you're following up your Thatcher band with the first band, with the last band being She Who Will Not Be Named. That is the biggest oddity for MKE, and it's going to be very interesting to see how their playstyle kind of coordinates alongside that.
Yeah, MKE's kind of throwing curveballs at us right now, seeing what they can do to confuse us. As in the lower division, there are some times where, like, there will be bans or there'll be decisions where it's just like, wow, I never would have thought of that. And it's said sometimes in a nice way, and it can make for some pretty unique plays that you really wouldn't think of as you.
This one's not a nice way though. This was I'm just kidding. I honestly, if you have a weakness as a team, ban it. Right? Like, if She Will Not Be Named, which is who I'm referencing, is a difficult operator for you to face off against, then ban it outright. Do not face off against it. Same thing with maps, right? You have essentially the battle begins before the maps get underway, before the game gets started, with the map veto phase, and then it comes the operator veto phase, where you have to kind of get rid of the ones that you don't want to work with and kind of be a little bit nitpicky about your choices. Taking her out is a solid decision if you're very weak against that, but MKE are starting off on the defense, and they've got to survive the defense for that to make any sort of impact, and that's going to be pretty tricky if they don't play their cards right. They have the Kaid, they have the Jaeger, they have the Valkyrie, which was left unbanned, considering their secondary ban there, which I'm sure we'll get over at some point or another, which means information is going to be so readily available for them. CUW are going to have to watch every single angle when they step inwards, and maybe think about bringing an IQ in the later stages of this attacking half for them if things get a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, I was thinking about that IQ as well. Like, you counter the Kaid, you counter the Valkyrie, and you can just kind of kill two birds with one stone just like that. The drone definitely did not spot the player just hiding inside of customs, but Roundy, I don't think Roundy would have known even if they were spotted. They are just sitting on the camera trying to spot anybody underneath. Is the C4 going to get ripped? It's thrown, and it injures Sonar. Doesn't take them out, but will the confirmation come through from Roundy? There goes the Z-ping, but the angle isn't there, Scott. Inches away from finding an entry pick, but it's just going to pass this MKE squad by.
Think about it. You have a secondary player. Hop on their cams. Give them a live Z-ping. Instead, it was a very single one. Stationary was not lining up where they were. Should have gone for the player that was not just down, with the one going for the pickup as well. It just felt like MKE had all of their cards right, and then unfortunately folded despite having a full house. And because of that, they're now looking at a three-man disadvantage as Sepro swings up main staircase and sends Assured Levin straight into the afterlife, relegated to cam duty, which thankfully they have quite a few of. Finally, the first blood will fall in favor of MKE. They'll get a second one not far behind as Stepbro falls into their line of sight, but Sonar will punish Hazer by taking them off the board and leaving just Sharkbait all by their lonesome, currently hiding away, tucked inside Archives, swinging on over towards that locker side. Notes that there is at least a bit of a presence towards that main staircase. Surely hears the audio cue, and the tracers being fired their way. Manages to nail a headshot despite aiming at the crotch of Augie, and has now dropped this to a very manageable 1v2, but Diffuser has started to go down. Sonar hiding within the smoke canisters tossed by themselves. Surely going to toss those track stingers not far behind them, but Sharkbait has so much potential here. They just need to find the right timing to use it. One player hiding behind bomb surely will rotate away towards a window to play on the outside. Sharkbait will have to quickly manage themselves here. K9 swings from main hall, though. An unexpected position to be sure. They did not move an inch past that post plant, and it will be a round one for the attacking side.
I really like the patience from Concordia, even though Jaeger started picking up a little bit of kills here and there. They didn't all try to rush him, take him down, give him a lot of 1v1s that might eventually lead to the round loss. They stayed calm, were patient, and then tried to get that diffuser down. It was a 1v2, and it was a little bit scary overall, but still. Just the timing worked so well for Concordia. They didn't overpeak, which sometimes you will see, and that will lead to a lot of 1vx's that might eventually lead to a map loss. Astralis at the 6th Invitational, I think they had 26 around their 1vx's over the entire tournament. A lot of times they could take maps from their opponent because of how many 1vx's they got. You can't let that happen, and it's good that Concordia didn't allow it as they stick with the same lineup. They get to attack that same bomb site. The only real change that we're seeing from MKE is going to be that Solus, Assured Legend, bringing that out, maybe wanting to counter the drones that I think were definitely a little bit of a problem that Concordia kept throwing out. You kept seeing, maybe the drones weren't getting shot out, and it was always just fighting those roamers. Solus is a good pick for that. So I like seeing Assured Legend just kind of run around the map, use that little Specchio scanner, and try to shut down the information from the attack.
Well, that information will be very important, but it's another kind of issue of acting upon that intel here, V. And that was a bit of a problem for MKE just last round. Despite having a wonderful Nitro Cell from below, from Roundy, they were not able to secure that pick from the DB node State of Sonar, and past that, they weren't able to even close out the player going for the pickup, which, honestly, if they'd taken even just the first kill, would have changed the entire tempo and pace of that round in general, and would have maybe made that 1v2, possibly just a 1v1, which would have been much more manageable for MKE, specifically towards Sharkbait. Time will have to tell, though, if that wound does get healed. Intel and live pings going out here for the side of MKE. Concordia just trying to find their best anticipated approach for entry. Drones galore, and the Solus, who is there to deny that, unfortunately has bit the bullet, or maybe I should say Nate here, taking it against Augie, and now being in a DBNO state with no one truly nearby, safe enough to go for that pickup.
Augie, though, if they actually turn their attention away from Assured Legend, there is a small chance Solus is going to be able to get picked up. I think somebody is overlooking that same spot, and now we're halfway through. This is Operation Save Assured Legend. Valkyrie makes the mad dash over to Customs. Will they get the revive? No. There is Augie to get the headshot. So now instead of losing just one, your Solus, you lose 2, 3 with your Valkyrie. I mean, what do you do about that? That is literally a 3-for-1 special.
I'm loving the drones placed out right now by Concordia. Wonderful angles. You can see just how much Augie knows in that position. Swinging over, looking over towards check-in, checking towards security. Having so much intel available for them, it feels like they're seeing straight through the wall, but that's what it should look like. That is what the attacking team, having 10 drones available to them, should be capable of utilizing. And they've done a wonderful job so far here in this one, but the job's not done. Still got to deal with Danny Destructo and Hazer, who's still lying awake in the second floor. Danny taking a lick of damage from the floorboards from that skeleton key sent their way. And Jawbreaker snapping a quick one against Danny Destructo to isolate just Hazer all by themselves here in Armory Lockers. Plant seemingly going down. Takes him a second, but Hazer will eventually collect there with the AUG to try to make this one a little bit more manageable. Finding a second now in return. That is a very good spot to work from. Shield is out, doing everything they can, but Hazer still swings for the kill and now has control over Diffuser, as well as having a very spotted position being detected outdoors, where their last bits of Concordia can slowly pincer in like a snake choking its prey.
A little bit of an awkward round end. I mean, Kaid 1v3, finding the planter who honestly didn't have the best coverage, but those are some things you can definitely look forward to changing just a little bit as the rounds go on. Overall, I think it is still a problem that MKE has to deal with, is those drones. The Solus, honestly, you might want to try the Solus again because he wasn't even able to do anything. Solus was fragged so early on that, honestly, you got no usage out of her, so bring her again. If somebody goes down, don't sacrifice 2 other players trying to get the revive. There are a lot of changes that MKE can make, and I think the first one, the much better one, is changing the site. Clearly, that Armory site is not going to be the best for you, and it's because Concordia are doing such a good job hunting down all those roamers, hunting down Assured Legend, Roundy, and then working their way towards the site, getting that plant down. So far, it's really coming up blue right now.
Yeah, here's the thing. I would maybe make the inference that MKE could switch an operator out for a pulse, like maybe your Capcan, though I'd argue maybe keep that this round. I wouldn't say your Valkyrie because it's just better intel for active intel. Maybe the Kaid if you're not truly going for utter denial, but in the lower ranks you do see them go for that active denial to have that ultimate time sink, especially if you're a team that bans Thatcher first. Problem is here, V, there are pocket EMPs now, and Concordia have themselves a pair of them sitting in the pockets here of StepBro, waiting for the right time to use it, likely to clear those hatches, making sure StepBro can get in safely. They're going to use the Osa shield to make sure that is capable of doing so, and then they'll work from there direct towards that site. MKE, though, with a pulse, would be able to use information with live pings, and with the already existent 3 nitro cells on the board, they maybe would find better use of those, much like they did in round 1, with maybe a little bit more after the back by finishing off that kill. Unfortunately, Sharkbait will be the only player to be finished off so far. 50 seconds in, and their life has been forfeit.
A lot of C4s that MKE can use. A third of that is gone, but they still have just a couple more that we saw what Roundy was able to do with them using the cameras, but I think part of that is that you got to have the teamwork, not have your Valkyrie always get on the cameras, Z-ping for herself and then C4 herself. There has to be some synchronization that you can utilize, and I think that is what's happening. There's camera upstairs, and someone, assuredly, Sharkbait, is going to use it. Assured Legend tags somebody up, doesn't get the headshot, but luckily Roundy is there to just tag somebody up, take their head off, and that's going to be a very important player. Jawbreaker, the Thermite, has no say in this round, and Sonar almost joins him in the grave, taking a little bit more and just lethal damages. So far, a much better round from MKE, but they need to finish it off with a strong 10.
I would say exactly lethal damage to finish them off there. Nade comes out, and unfortunately doesn't find very many targets. I believe does clear a cross map, though. Gunshots galore across the map, and seemingly it is favored quite assuredly the MKE side. However, death from above reigns supreme. It's K9 Vacuum to close out Danny Destructo with that assistance with the floorboard clearing that is Augie. Yes, there is the unfortunate byproduct of making the resale value of this here, I guess, border patrol position not very high, but you still get a ton of information off of it, and you've now netted yourself not just 1, but 2 kills quickly after the fact to now give yourself that man advantage you were lacking just moments prior. Just Assured Legend has survived longer than the first 50 seconds here, V, but with only 25 seconds remaining, will surely have a tough time to get the go-ahead, knowing that there is intel there. Maybe default cam has not been cleared, or maybe a Valk cam is on the board as Roundy is currently watching there. Gun has been spotted. K9 Vacuum will retreat instead of going for the kill, seemingly wary at the cost of their own life. Ready, rotate, maybe possibly being perused from that open wall inside bathroom. Swung by 1, you can't reload there, and unfortunately K9 Vacuum will find themselves the kill on the go-ahead, and that is the time you're waiting for that reload rework to come through. They still got a couple shots back, but it still wasn't enough.
Unfortunately, it's got, what, the P90 is, what, 50 bullets?
Too many. A lot.
Yeah, I mean, they do like 5 damage each.
Pea shooter.
But still, it's enough that, like, maybe it'll help you at the last second. And it's unfortunate because it seemed like even though Sharkbait went down very early on, there were some changes that were absolutely welcome. Some Z-ping is coming from teammates. Even though Sharkbait did go down, he still helped his team out. But you need that when you have a full 5 squad. Going down early on is never going to help you. Now you've given 3 to your opponent, and they're going back to Armory. I don't agree with that. There's nothing here. Even though you're changing to a bandit, which still isn't really going to solve your problems.
Are you off for
everything
roaming?
else that's beside the side? Yeah, like, I don't see how bandit is going to help your droning. I mean, it's a nitro, but
all right, let's think about the playstyle MKE have played so far in this one. Very off-site, very, I would say, separated from the objective, V. They've been playing majority of their nitro cell wielders on that first floor when they play this second floor objective. The problem with that is they're not getting enough active intel. Again, if you're going to bring that blitz and already have a Kaid, just one of them switch over to Repulse to get that active information, work in tandem alongside somebody. You can play selfish like Rowdy has been doing with their nitro cell and cams for the secured kill, which they failed in round 1. Or you can assist your team and be very helpful. It just feels like MKE are so close to this little bit of key success that they're just falling short on every single time they finish their operator selection. It just needs to be slightly closed in. And the problem I mentioned at the very beginning, you ban away She Who Will Not Be Named for a reason because you didn't want to face it, I assume, and you may not even survive to see more than one round when it comes to your attacking side. You've got to start making these adjustments now. 2 is the minimum I believe you need to work with, especially for a map here like Border. And at this rate, MKE may not even make it to that state because CUW have been playing a standout game. Yes, maybe struggling a few in the clinical areas, having a really rough time with that 2v1, isolating and not swinging in tandem, but it doesn't matter. They're winning and looking fine doing so, and Concordia will gladly take this win over MKE if it continues to go this way.
I mean, maybe that is the problem. You mentioned that they're playing very selfish. And I think if Concordia are going to win a lot of these early engagements like they are doing on Sharkbait, and a lot of that is because Concordia are playing directly next to each other. Augie's on that first floor. Sonar right above them. I don't see who's exactly above them. But even though if one person went down, there would be a refrag right around the corner. It's 3 down, and honestly Concordia can just walk in here. They just don't have to take any time to really drone out because they just win a lot of these gunfights. It is insane what they're able to do. A really good spray there by Danny Destructo to take out that kill. He does deploy a smoke canister just to delay the time a little bit, but an offensive smoke canister is going to obscure the vision of the defenses. You can take your time. 50 seconds left. Make it so that MKE, they got to waste all their smoke canisters, all their C4s, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And now with 40 seconds, you can just walk on into that site, get that diffuser down, have a grand old time.
A lot of damage has been dealt by your Assured Legend, but it's not enough to close out for the initial kill. Danny Destructo, though, working alongside it, does finally secure. Problem is, shots go the other way, and you've now lost your Blitz into the DBNO state, and you're not picking them back up. I'm sorry to break it to you. They'll be finished off, and then finally, Danny Destructo, much less handsome, I assume. I don't know. Maybe they're handsome as well, but it's hard to beat that man. They'll fall last and foremost with CUW. Concordia taking themselves a very solid round once again. I'll point it out here at the very beginning. Augie is a menace. They are playing the rank strats out their mind, and I don't mean that as an insult. They're walking in. I'm not sure if the rest of the team is just feeding them so much pertinent information. I don't know what their comms are like. I don't see where their drones necessarily are, but their ability to find every single opening, pick on that first floor, those players that are straying away from sight, that are on that roam game, their ability to clear that has been amazing. One of, if not the most important part of Concordia's game. And yes, when Augie dies, there is that unfortunate mishap of saying, well, the rest of the team needs to step up big. They have no problem doing so. It feels like when Augie is alive, they steal the limelight, but once they're dead, the rest of the team can do their bows, and they do not slip up on stage. And that's the reason why we're seeing them go 4-0.
I think part of the reason as well that Augie's able to do this is because MKE are kind of playing in the same spots over and over again. Sharkbait and Roundy, one of them's usually in workshop or customs, and one of them's over in tellers. It's this, and not even like different spots in the actual area itself. It's literally like round for round, they are sitting in the exact same area. So they don't even really need to drone. They could just check it out, shoot a little bit over there, and suddenly Sharkbait is downed but not out. And that's one little entry kill that you can walk forward. Every single entry so far has gone the way of Concordia. 2 rounds have been Roundy going down first. 2 rounds have been Sharkbait going off first. I don't know at this point, you swap somebody else on the roam, but something drastic has to happen, either positioning wise, who is running on the roam, but honestly, Concordia are reading right into what MKE is doing, and that's just making it so easy to get a read on this defense.
Here comes the live pings from below. It seems like any moment now, Augie will prime up for a nade toss. just trying to get the perfect bit of intel. Jawbreaker's just running in. That was a bit dangerous, two things to consider. They will tag the legs of Roundy, but slightly too far to the side. The depth perception for the drone, it's very hard to nail the exact position. Sometimes you end up doing it slightly beyond the player, and that's what we see right there. Roundy surviving because of that, and interestingly enough, Roundy being on that second floor maybe means that MKE are starting to, I would say, respect some of the potential of that Concordia side. Issue is, they're still roaming in general. They're still having to play their objective on that first floor. They're still having to deal with the players and the threats that are making their way. But they finally cut down at least one. Hazer decimates the Jackal that is Stepbro, their Inox scanner, and apparently not giving them yet enough intel. But it doesn't seem to matter too much, as their teammate, a Sharkbait, will fall to the hands of K9 Vacuum.
That is the first entry that's gone the way of MKE, but what will they do off of that? How are they going to adapt? Assured Legends, honestly, between a rock and a hard place. They've got Sonar behind them. You have Augie directly to your left. The Solus is either going to be the freest kill ever, or it is going to be such liberation for MKE that you might win the round based off of this alone. There's another roamer that gets a kill. That is the Solus inside of Fountain, but it is not without blood. Your Cade goes down, one of your two C4s that you have in your pocket, and suddenly it's going the way of Concordia. You lose one, you lose two, and it's all in the hands of Danny Destructo, the 1v3. He can go for the res, but at this point, it's a little bit too risky, especially now that the Frost has been spotted. 20 seconds left. Concordia has to get that diffuser down or go for the kill because they know where this Frost is. Slow walking up Tellers, simply get shot through the barricade, and it is a clean sweep for Concordia at this rate.
Concordia's ability to gather information is, bar none, some of the best we've ever seen in the Emergence Division here via. Casting the NECC for quite a while, wasn't on R6 last season, making a return here, and it's still Concordia doing a wonderful job. Their information gathering potential is there. I was curious whether or not they just knew, or whether or not Augie was getting a ton of assistance from the drones in the area. That last round, thank you to our observer. Love him to death. Love that man. Spotting and telling us exactly where those drones were coming from and giving us that, key stepped plan that CUW were working with. That's what you need to see on the attack. MKE will need to replicate that to such an insane degree, it seems like an impossibility. Considering that Concordia have already reached 5-0, I like to say 2 is the minimum to work with. It's so extreme of a chance for MKE to make the return on attack, but anything can truly happen on a map like Border. Border tends to be somewhat floppy in returns of breaking the mold, I would say. It's a little bit more 50-50. I think every map has fallen a bit more 50-50, with Defenders still kind of getting the go-ahead on most. But Concordia are trying to make a stay that doesn't matter what side the map is sided for. It's a Concordia-sided map when we play it.
I feel like at this point, just run like the anti-drone squad. Run like a
They have that.
Mozzie.
They've got the Solus. They've got information about campers.
You could no. You just gotta dedicate way more. Bring the Mozzie, bring the Mute. Like, you could do so much more to try to shut down the drones, and MK just haven't done that. Like, they swapped to the Rook. Like, what is that going to do in the grand scheme of things, Scott? It'll give you one more hit from a bullet. You'll be able to be revived. I don't know if the Rook is the play, but Sharkbait, get that opening kill onto the Osa, a pretty pivotal operator, especially when trying to attack this armory side. So, a breath of potential fresh air, but every single time Concordia has gone down first, there's always been a refrag. Is that going to be the case? Saying any of these roamers, they got to be careful. Death could be around the corner.
I like the idea of having the Solus in these rounds. I just have never seen Assured Legend properly utilizing the kit. It feels like they just don't know what the middle mouse button is, which is, I believe, still the default button for their kit and their util. Either way, it just doesn't feel like they were gathering enough, and the information from Concordia was just suffocating in its practicality. They're having a little bit of trouble here, considering that they've lost K9 Vacuum, but that just means you have a dedicated drone to watch your flank, right? Nobody's got to sit on it to be active. You just have somebody dead that can do the exact same thing. Vacuum's still trying to decide who exactly they want to watch, and apparently would choose Stepbro, is thinking they're maybe the most, acclimated to get themselves that next kill. However, it may just instead be a player in MKE to find their target. As Stepbro does fall, witnessed by Vacuum. Sonar does get a refrag back, but Danny Destructo finds a nice shot with a 9mm before falling from a headshot back from Jawbreaker. 70 seconds still on the clock, and it has been a bloody round so far, but when they line up like that, it's easy pickings for the MKE side, who finally collect their first round win.
What was the reason for that? Was it the Rook, Scott? Was I wrong? Was the Rook just providing
No, they just played
much
for kills. They did not play their util. They just played for kills, which I'm not going to dog on that whatsoever. I do the exact same thing. That is a very respectable playstyle, in my opinion. Others may not believe so, but I love that playstyle, right? It's more intriguing as a play-by-play to call that one out. They had Sharkbait go for the very first peek on the outside, a dangerous one with a 416C or Jaeger. It hurts to miss that weapon in later stage of the round. You get first blood, a very pivotal one onto K9 Vacuum, who has been a nuisance with the Talon Shield throughout this game. And then from there, you just kind of apply backwards pressure. You start planking angles where they would typically be, where your audio cue is given away. You roam back up through that, corner elbow stairs. You take them in a flank like we saw that final kill. Things like that was what MKE did different. Their operator selection literally would not matter whatsoever there. It's just what guns feel best for them. I think the Rook was just there so that they would stay alive and as a solid weapon as well in hand. They just wanted those kills, and they had a solid selection to do so.
I can't blame them. With kind of how they were smacking MKE around, it just made sense at that point. Just like, you know what? We're up 5-0. Who cares at this point? It's 10:30. Let's just go for the silly plays. But MKE, they are going to have to do a large comeback, and that starts with Montaigne. Even though they banned out the Clash on the defense, it appears they did not want a defensive rival to counter Hazer in this engagement, but already they are knocking on the door of Archives, probably trying to get in, using these air jabs, setting up for a pretty early execution with all these smoke canisters. Hazer just walks right in. Scott tries to put that diffuser down. Is anybody going to throw C4? It gets hooked over. Takes down the Monty. What a chaotic first round already.
Hey, Asher Legend just runs in as fast as they can. Another Nitro Cell toss, this one in a different location. That will make things a bit easier. Somehow Diffuser does happen to go down. I thought round was over and Concordia were going to take it because they destroyed Hazer with the Nitro Cell. But what a cheeky way to play this game. MKE have still managed to pull off what seemed like an improbable and impossible scenario and have put themselves in a prime spot with a man advantage. However, Jawbreaker gets an angle on top of Dask, takes down Sharkbait outside window. Another angle will be held by K9 Vacuum, watching and clearing both drones, and will have to slowly rotate away. That Talon Shield has no way to be cleared for the side of Concordia. They will play just guns up, and they shut down Danny Destructo almost instantaneously. Roundy comes up big with 2, and K9 Vacuum's nowhere near, and that will be the round result in favor of MKE. But what a round from them, V. MKE say, hey, we don't get corner like we wanted. We'll go straight in front of door. That's honestly even better. That's exactly where our Talon Shield is watching.
Honestly, the spine to not even think when your Monty gets taken down, literally grabs the diffuser, just moves to a different part, and just starts putting it down. There was like a 5 to 10 second lapse in between diffuser spots, and that movement going from the one spot of the door to the other probably saved the round, because the C4 was thrown over, did not do lethal damage, and the adaptation from the defense to try to find that little corner spot ended up actually being the death of a lot of players. So I think like was not a strong enough word. I just love what MKE did in that round. The bad part, you're not going to be able to do that because a lot of it just comes from the surprise factor. And now even if you do try to run it, players will not be surprised. You cannot run the, like, they'll never expect it twice.
They won't. Do it again.
Yeah,
they'll never see it coming.
They'll know how to counter it.
No.
Scott, they'll know what, like, Stepbro.
It's not like they have a cap can or a zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a warden. It's not like they have any of that. Do it again.
No, it's not like they have that. But no. But
do it again.
These operators.
Oh my God! I did not just witness what I. Can we go on free cam real fast, Max? Can we pull up the free cam and just take a quick peek over at that door? Just, you know, just prove, yeah, I think you guys can see it just narrowly over there. That is, what, 4 Capcan traps? 3. Oh my goodness. It takes 2 to kill now, doesn't it? A 3 armor? Like, that is so overkill. But you know what? I love it. I respect it. A huge play from Concordia. But, I mean, they're still taking the first lick of damage as Sonar tries to swing on over through security window. They are using their barricades to their side to give them better one-ways, but it's not going to be enough. MKE are playing a little bit more passive here, though they do already have quite a foray into sight, or at least into map, I should say. But it looks like they're about to breach the big triple wall leading straight into Armory.
Augie breaking out the window, probably prepping for a run out just to try to shoot that repelled player, but would come with a lot of risk, but it could get some high reward. I think the opportunity has passed them by just to try to get that little jump out, and you have to communicate that to the rest of your team. Azami just outside of security. I don't know if the drone has exactly spotted them, but Sonar isn't really going to take the risk. They're backing off, trying to manage the high risk, high reward that would also come with Augie's jump out. If they tried that, K9 vacuum is going to walk all the way from those eastern stairs, does get that opening pick, but immediately traded, and now we are going to see the firefights that happened between these two teams. Sonar barely survives with about 10 to 15 HP, as there is still enough time to bounce back into defense and prepare for that execution.
Warden doing their best, I don't know, Spy Kids impersonation, if anyone still recognizes that reference from back in the old days, from when I was a child.
Seen Spy Kids?
A lot of people have seen Spy Kids. You never know. I'm a bit older than these college kids. Not by much, but you never know what they truly watched as children. Though, Warden easily trying to avoid the flashbang sent their way. There's no smoke canisters actually on the side of MKE, so you don't get the full potential here of those glasses to your side, and they no longer have flashes as well, so it will truly be just playing as a Warden as you can, I guess, but they're going to need to make sure that MPX can hit its targets. Already having stepped inside, Sonar's got a wonderful angle to cut down Roundy. Nitrocell has been tossed by Jawbreaker, and they see quite a lot off the back of it, but they miss the actual target, and they can't connect the shots after the fact to make sure Third Legend will go down until just now, with 20 seconds remaining to find their target, leaving just Danny Destructo in a 1v4, makes it a manageable 1v3, but there is the beginning of the end. The barricade goes down, time is not on their side, diffusers across the map, and Step Bro lops their head clean off their shoulders to assuredly create a very dominant hold now at match point for CUW.
Yeah, I was expecting that. I was expecting that once we got to the more normal rounds, the stable rounds that don't involve flash smoke plants, we would see Concordia come out on top in a way that we've seen them the entire map. It's not extremely close, but it isn't an absolute beatdown that I think comes with like a flawless round or 4 players left alive. There is still some fight put up by MKE Esports, but it's enough where Concordia clearly has control over the round, and I don't really think that's going to stop in this map at all. We're going to have to see if that changes on Clubhouse. I'm trying to remember if this is Concordia or
Concordia's
MKE's
map pick.
Concordia's map pick. That shows, honestly, with how comfortable they are, with how they can walk around the map, especially their roamers. You can see the difference between what their roamers and MKE roamers have been able to do. Honestly, I think this map is as good as sealed, Scott.
I think that is a fair assessment to make by the end of this one. I will point out, though this is, yes, CW's map pick, Clubhouse is just a smaller version of Border, right? It's just a bit smaller, teeny, smaller than Border. Which means your ability to drone out, yeah, can maybe get snuffed out a little bit quicker by MKE if you're, you know, hopeful. I would pray that that would be the case. But Concordia have not had any problems, even when they're lacking information, like, say, on their defensive half, where they've now gone 1-1, which is a solid way to go so far. And they've reached match point, which is truly where they needed to be. Solus and Echo on the board. That's denial of information, plus a little bit of active information. Plus, they have the Echo for the Yokai drones, which can be actively done. And they have the Pulse that I was highlighting so many times previously. And while, yes, nobody else on CUW has a Nitro Cell alongside it, It's fine to play Pulse a little selfishly when it comes to Border. Instead, MKE played every other operator selfishly, and that was what caused problems for them defensively.
Sepro sees the drones, chooses to ignore them, and goes for the peek. That is bold. And honestly, it's kind of crazy. Like, oh my, you can feel the salivation that K9 has. Like 3 heartbeats. There has to get a C4 kill, right? There has to be.
There it is.
Thank you. The payoff. We are rewarded with a great C4 kill. Goes down Roundy, takes down 2 of the 4 frag grenades, and well, unfortunately for CUW, 2 of their players are not really going to last long, but maybe Sonar will be able to make a statement in this round. They get one look away before that second MKE player shows their face. But Castle is still up on that second floor, still wreaking havoc. And the longer that they can stay up here, the better it will be for Concordia.
At some point or another, MKE may just say, let's stray away from Sonar. Sonar is pretty much pinned in and locked inside Armory, but we don't really have the utility or anything of the sorts to feel that confidence to swing them like this. Slowly pincer them in from that Armory side, maybe from the Archive side, I guess I should say, maybe from that main hallway side instead, where we saw the initial shots go between Sonar and I believe it was Trick Legend at the time. But they just haven't been really active about snuffing this player out, which means even if Sonar dies at this point feat, they have bought clear and true at least 30 to 40 seconds off the clock, and that is just adding up more and more as time continues to tick away. Sharkman working in from triple wall. Sonar's life will be forfeit, but it bought so much time for the rest of CUW. The problem still remains. MKE have created an easy access point direct in towards site. Hatch right over that bathroom side, getting a ton of intel here off of the zero cams. Yeah, it will be cleared away, but the whole team is ready to drop forward. Time is not on their side. The Yokai can easily clear this. Assure Legend will begin the plant. Buy as much time as you can here off the Yokai Augie. They'll shoot it once. Nobody's cleared it again. He's gonna have to step up now that it's been finally shot. Sitting aside opposite. Gets a wonderful connection over towards Hazer. Now swinging again. Headlocked off once over. As the UMP may be a pea shooter, but it goes huge! As a quadra kill lines up for Vacuum, and it goes huge to not only guarantee CUW's map win, but also to climb above Augie, who we said was easily the best player on their side. Way to prove us wrong by the end of that round.
Quad kill. Finishing that map off with a little check mark, a little star, as you will. But honestly, with that being Concordia's map pick, I think that's a statement. It wasn't 7-4. It was really Concordia all the way through it. And those 2 rounds, they felt a little bit like flukes. A little bit, especially that last round of round. And the first split was just a little goofy and a little odd. But in the end, I think the trajectory that we were on by that first round, it stayed the course. And we ended up, I think, how we were always destined to when we saw just how dominant Concordia were on Border.
Concordia played a very solid map, which is somewhat expected. It is their map pick V, but I think it goes a little bit more beyond that, and I think that will ultimately continue to be the case as we head over to Clubhouse. When you're entering into a stage where you do really good on a somewhat unexpected map pick like Border can be, turn it into a map that's very common, very T3 special, one of the, amateur go-to maps of all time in R6. Everyone's got to know it, which just means if you know other maps, you probably know this map really well, because you don't step to another map until you know this one to heart. So I think Concordia will have a very solid foot to work from. I think for MKE, they're going to have to take a couple things back to the drawing board in this break, and that will, I guess, lead us on into that break as well. Just before we send you out, I'll remind you guys, the kid from Spy Kids is now married to Megan Trainor. If you didn't know that, now you do. We'll see you guys when this break is over.
Hey, welcome back to Late Night NECC on the. You are
Your intro,
you
V.
judging me, Scott?
It's your
Are
intro,
you
V.
judging me, Scott?
V, it's your intro.
I said hello. I was being
your intro, V.
casual to the audience as
V,
my introduction. I
Make
was
sure you intro,
saying,
V.
yeah, hello, welcome to NECC on the B stream. It's Late Night Siege, and we've got MKE versus Concordia, Wisconsin University, or Concordia University of Wisconsin. We're going on to map 2. It's Clubhouse after a little bit of stomping on border, and this is my co-caster, this little dude Scott, who's judging me. Hello.
Not so little, but
He is little. He's very short.
I am not short. Thank you very much. I am 6 foot online and 5'3" in person. Not actually true either, but you'll never guess what the actual one is.
We need
Either
to bring
way.
out anytime you talk about your height. We need to bring up that photo of you and
And me and John, yes, my usual co-caster.
That did so much damage to your reputation.
It did. I honestly, I needed a step stool next to the man. He is 6'4", 6'5", and me being actually 5'10", that is my actual height. 5'11" with good shoes, and don't you forget it. It's a huge difference, and it's very noticeable, and so it makes it very unfortunate. So I will be asking for a step stool next time I go to a LAN event and work that. Either way, when it's not with him, it's fine. MKE have had their ban first and foremost, and wouldn't you guess it here, V? It's the same darn one they did last map on border. Thatcher's first off the chopping block, and CUW will replicate the same exact thing they did just last map as well. And who will it be for the final? Please be she who will not be named, as MKE stick to the mold. Don't break it. Let's see. I hate this. Now she's playable.
I don't think she's gonna get
Banned.
played, so I don't think you have to worry about that. But I mean, the Echo makes like so much more sense.
It was used against them, so yes.
It was yeah, exactly. We saw Concordia use the Echo, and it wasn't a nightmare to MKE because they only had 2 rounds on the attack, but it still was enough that it's like it's much better than a clash ban overall. But with MKE starting on the defense once again, they get the chance to kind of set the record straight, bring something different, see a different result than we did on border. It was a 5-1. Not looking too good for them. And I think going to Clubhouse, it's a map that you should know, considering how long it's been here and how much teams have played it. I would expect MKE to put up a better fight, and I think the droning is a little bit harder on this side, especially with Hazer bringing that mute up.
Pre-Azami, I'll say here, V, this objective is the worst objective in all of Rainbow Six Siege, by far. What used to be an extremely defender-side favorited objective quickly turned, because people learned how to play against it, into an attacker-favorited one to an 80 to 20 degree margin. It was an extreme turn and shift, so much so I opted to say, honestly, Master Bedroom and Gym should be the main go-to site, and this would be your third choice, your tertiary objective. However, with the zombie being brought in, it's closed out just a little bit, but it is still ultimately attacker-favorited. I would say it's fallen maybe to a 65-35, which is still pretty darn bad in all regards, but it's still at least better than it used to be. MK opting for this first. I don't know. It's hard to tell what exactly would go on. I do like their operator selection, though. The Valkyrie there for information. That's something they fell back on quite a lot. No longer will Roundy be to go to. A Valkyrie pick for this map. Huge Capital Bolt to come out. That fire bolts away Assured Legend and stops them from going for the Bandit trick. CUW seemingly having the strat to work against that. And they also have the Azami, which they can stack over towards that Raptor side, which is the standard idea, showing me that MKE have a I'm not going to speak their name again. Having a solid position to work from, but however, the moment I mention the Azami, they're dead.
Nobody's really going to be able to hold Raptors that well. So it's going to mean that Concordia can just kind of take that portion of the map pretty much for free at that point. And this western portion of that may fall as well if Sharkbait goes down. But Danny Destructo is there providing support from that construction window. It is going to be enough to maybe lessen the impact that Hazer's death will have. There isn't actually a confirmed, and I think the Bandit will actually, but no, Stepbro just walks in, gets the kill with that bolt action sniper rifle, and now we will see that smoke canister try to drain out just a little bit of time. But that smoke canister, the offensive one, will actually force Danny Destructo to use another one just in case, and there's so much time for Concordia to wait out those defensive smoke canisters and just eventually get that little itty-bitty diffuser.
Smoke canister, this close door, and then nade it 3 seconds afterward would be my recommended strategy to really snuff away and close out Assured Legend. Likely is they would try to toss a Nitro Cell afterwards. They know that it is in fact the Bandit, and they're assuredly going to have, pun on their name intended, I guess, the Nitro Cell still available. However, Stepbro denies that in its totality. A wonderful showcase of what that sniper is capable of. And the light ping is out for Danny Destructo to find themselves a possible avenue to get a kill, but it's sniffed out by K9 Vacuum and Sonar to find that final blood. It is a very close and secure round for Concordia as MKE falls short on that CCTV side, which is somewhat expected considering the objective.
It's a problem that we saw from MKE. They went to Armory 4 times. They lost Armory 3 times, with that last round being the exception. Why are you going back to CCTV cache?
Because they need to play it 4 times to get their
They need to beat their record. They need to play it 5 times.
5 times.
You can. There are so much better sites as well. Like it's not like
there's 2 better sites.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not so many better sites.
Okay,
I'm
better so sorry, Mr. Specific. Fine. Gym bedroom and basement are just better sites, honestly, in the collective mind. And you would not be hurting yourself going to the basement, going to gym bedroom. And if you're not comfortable there, honestly, rest in peace to you, because this map will not be going well, because it means that you don't really have the knowledge on this map. And if you keep going back to CCTV cache and it keeps going like that first round did, I mean, it's just basically going to be a broken record at this point of map 1.
Which would be quite kind of unfortunate. Oh, whoops. Kind of unfortunate to say the very least. Roundy has transitioned away from the Azami. That is another very unfortunate thing to say for MKE, all things considered. Yeah, Roundy didn't get the most impact off of that because they tied first, but I'll give you a bit of, I'll give you some free information here. Information usually comes at quite a cost, but I'll give it to you for the low cost of a 5-finger discount. Just take it off my hands. If you don't peek the sniper and don't show yourself, it can't kill you. That's what Roundy needs to be doing there. Unfortunately, just didn't opt to do so, and it became a bit of a problem. They maybe not realizing the Kaid Electric Claw is not placed close. It's no longer a bandit. Maybe not enough droning was done to secure that information. I think probably placed below. Is that still possible to do on this map? I can't recollect correctly. Either way, the Kaid Electric Claw not being cleared is just a perfect situation for MKE.
You can see in Roundy's mind, they were like, oh, I'm going to go for the run out. I'm going to impact the door. This is a bad idea. Never mind. Let's do something else. And overall, that was a good decision. Stepbro was looking at the door with malicious intent, ready to take down somebody who walked straight out. Even with Roundy having so much health, it is going to be a little difficult for 2 less players on Concordia now to chunk down the massive amount of health that Rook has. Vacuum goes down. Goes down, and Jawbreaker just flirts with death with that player's up on Raptors. So already, much better round from MKE, especially when getting that opening pick. You shut down Jawbreaker, who is that hard breacher, does escape your grasp. Just a little bit of Stepbro just walks right on it. Does spot the player, takes down the head of Roundy. There's so much time to line up that shot, and things might look like they're changing a little bit, Scott.
I mean, you've got the pistol in hand, the machine pistol in hand. You're trying to at least find the head of the last remaining player that's on that Raptor side. You don't need to worry about it. Buy time for Sonar to peek that CCTV window. A perfect line of sight to close out that player. You've now managed to somehow scrape away from a 5v3 with you being the latter half and make it into a 3v2, taking 3 kills all in quick succession. Toxic Babes not available, opting instead for a mute, maybe not realizing that the 2 great ops aren't exactly the same thing, buy and buy product, maybe trying to rely a bit more on that anti-droning we were talking about previously. Either way, it's not working. Hazer gets in a bad firefight with a sniper up close. Should theoretically win that fight, but doesn't manage to do so. The ACS is out, and it still can't win the fight up close and personal as the worst ACOG, in my opinion, I hate the sight of that thing, is brought out and finds its headshot.
Stepbro is just living on people peeking off at this point. Like that is something that MKE just need to learn. It's like, bro, don't peek off long.
Maybe start queuing some more CS:GO. It's free. It'll teach you not to peek ops.
Yeah, like honestly,
or Valorant.
Just keep bringing the Cali.
Let me throw that back. Valorant's also free and a better game than CS:GO.
Yeah, don't play. This is like our word of advice. At least my word of advice: don't play Valorant. Play CS:GO instead. But actually, play Siege. We're talking about Siege. We're casting
I definitely
Siege.
agree with that sentiment. You should play Siege over every other video game, as I'm shaking my head quite vigorously. You can't tell by the
there's a firearm to his head telling you to play Siege.
I am not being held against my will. I'll state that outright. I do enjoy R6. In fact, I would not have, 1,300 hours in the game if I did not enjoy it. Thank you very much. I just also happen to have 1,300 hours in Siege. Between the two of us.
That is a lot of time. Yeah, I was gonna talk about Stepbro though. Like, I wanted to see more of the Cali. Like, if MKE are just gonna peek, Stepbro keeps lining that up. I mean, it's an enjoyable operator to bring out. So, I mean, Osa probably more helpful, definitely more helpful, but a little bit less fun. And I think sometimes that's what's more important to us as casters, is seeing the silly strategies, seeing goofy things happen in game. And that's when we are in the immersions division, that is sometimes what you really need in your games.
Sure. Oh my goodness. What a shot from Jawbreaker. A wonderful way to open things up there on the shark bait. One player lingering up on central staircase window. It is your Malusi of Danny Destructo. Not really finding much destruction. The name's not really fitting very well. And knowing that player is there, what does CUW do here, V? Percent. Down dirt, straight through the tunnel, and start direct pressure towards the objective. That is exactly what you need to do if you know that players are still sitting off site. Punish them for their indiscretion. Punish them for their passivity. That's exactly what you need to do, but the problem lies, your direct pressure through dirt has no assisting tertiary angle to work from, and because of that, it is a fatal funnel at which a player can find an easy lineup shot towards Jawbreaker, because for some reason, the OSA didn't step up first and place their talent shield to give them a foothold to work from.
Oh, Augie, a great little pre-fire there onto Danny Destructo, assisted by the information of the drone. It seems that Concordia just has not really stepped away from the constant information. The LMG from Augie, it's got higher caliber bullets, and there's nothing you can do about that, Assured Legend. Those body shots are going to do a lot more damage. And honestly, MKE is being dealt a lot of damage in this round. Could be softened by Roundy getting that kill onto Augie, but so far, with the amount of time that's on the clock, with the momentum that Concordia has had, they could roll that to a round victory, but there is Hazer getting the kill onto Vacuum, and things could change. It's just going to be up to the two players, Hazer and Roundy. One on full health, one on low health, and they are going to have to make some magic work through the end of their runs.
Drones are still available. Can move them to a better position to work from. One in the pocket of Stepbro. Two available for Sonar, with one being out. Maybe the right time to do so. You may not think it would be, but, time is of the essence, and that could be a major problem forthcoming. Stepbro to stick this diffuser, gets caught out because of it, and not enough coverage being made by Sonar. Sonar now stuck in a 1v1, swings to Roundy, gets them tagged, has to pull out the pistol, but can't find the kill, as Roundy somehow, some way, shocks this round out from the fingers of CUW and will equalize things a little bit closer, now only being just one round despairing between the two sides.
And it was headshot or nothing.
Yes.
There, I think one shot from the pistol, and it's Concordia going on a 3-round streak. A great play from Roundy. Before this, they really didn't have any presence in the entire map. But a couple missteps from Concordia allows Roundy to get that diffuser, the person planting the diffuser, and then to win that 1v1. There's the one round. It's much better than happening at round 6 right before the side swap. It allows you to actually gain a little bit of confidence, and MKE really need that confidence right now. I don't know if you take that confidence to CCTV, considering how the first 2 rounds went. Go to Gym Bedroom. Like, it's not really a request at this point. It's kind of an order. Go to Gym Bedroom. You will have a better time there, I assure you, than CCTV holding rafters, having a mid-time holding near Gym and Bedroom. Just, like, please, MKE, please. I've seen you so much. I've seen your goofy logo over these past NECC weeks. Like, I believe in you.
A lot of words here for V. Trying to give the highest vote of confidence they can to MKE. I don't know. They made their bed, and unfortunately now they have to sleep in it. And the problem is, it looks like they made their bed and then immediately decided to eat every Pop-Tart known to man, the driest ones possible, directly in the sheets without using a vacuum or cleaning up or anything afterwards. No matter how much you try to, whip it away, it's not going to go. There are going to be crumbs in that bed until you remake it and redo all your laundry. It's not going to happen. That is the situation MKE are in. You are lying within a very terrible situation that you placed there because you're continuing to go to the same objective. Slight changes, and you'll find yourself well. Master Benjamin Gym is such a strong objective to work from. Yeah, it could be difficult because Concordia is a very solid team when it comes to direct lines of sight towards an entry, but you still have direct lines of sight and even more lines of sight available on the CCTV side instead, with a triple wall direct to objective, a window direct to objective, and even then an open construction that's nearly direct to objective that CUW have used every single round to cut you apart.
Danny Destructo goes down, and Concordia are not missing a step. They are pushing forward, trying to take care of any other MKE defenders, but underneath is Roundy, giving a lot of active information that can and will be used by this defensive team. The only problem, can they really do anything about that? Yes, Roundy is giving very good information, but it can't be C4. And if Concordia does not push up, MKE just kind of got to wait for them to actually do that. Instead, Danny Destructo's toes just get shot out from underneath him. Step rotates engagement 7 and 2. It seems like they are just not missing in this entire map, and now they're going to take that space and fill the hole that Danny Destructo left. And right now, with Concordia putting that fuse around, everything is just coming up Wisconsin.
Only 2 players remaining. It's hard to have anything truly come up in your favor. Roundy's a bit sad after that one. I'm sure there's a reason for it. Diffuser is down, and off angle has been held, and K9 Vacuum has the flank to secure not just Hazer, but possibly enough to secure that Assured Legend will step into the line of sight of their teammates. Not only is this a round won by Concordia, but it is a flawless one at that. A very dominant round for Concordia, and I can only expect that to continue if MKE continue to pick the same objective. Maybe they've learned something new here, V. First floor bar
I'm
and
staring.
stage.
No,
please.
No.
Stop. A moment. No, at this point, a round of silence because the CCTV reattempts are killing me. MKE has so much just latent potential that it feels like they're missing out on. They can do so much better like they did on basement if they just pick another objective.
It's like watching your child constantly walk into the deep end of a pool, and you're like trying to grab them out, put them out, and they just keep walking into the deep end. You're telling them, no, the deep end, you will drown. You don't know how to swim, and they keep walking into the deep end. It was a flawless round, Scott.
Do you know the definition of insanity, V?
It is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
And over again, and expecting a new result.
You know what the funny part of that is? They are different. There are different results. It's
more
results.
More and more favor to Concordia. Yeah, that's the somewhat funny part to it. Maybe not so much if you're an MKE fan, but it is if you're Concordia. Maybe that last round was a fluke. They have changed things up. They are bringing out the Thunderbird this time. They're also bringing a Doc instead of a Pulse, and they're changing out their Smoke for a Mute, which again did not work the last time we saw it be brought out, as they had no one to deny plant position in default. Concordia have had no problems getting towards default. They've also had no problems getting those kills when it comes down to it. The only issue they've maybe had is dealing with the MKE Electro Claw, but even then, they just go through construction and get kills as well. Move and rotate through red stairs. They have so many different angles at which they can play from that MKE just, when they get one bone, COW throws 3 witches in after the fact. It just is not going to work out, and that right there is proof of Sharkbait dying first, trying to aggress the swing outside Jacuzzi wall.
Why?
I don't know, and giving CUW first blood.
Like, Sharkbait died in construction last round from the players walking over from the 2-bedroom area. Why would you peek Hacha Ball when you know you lost a previous gunfight? I'm kind of like done questioning why, because it seems like Concordia know the answer, and it is just they don't care. They win gunfights, win the round off of that, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. No Thunderbird or Doc is going to bring Sharkbait and Assured Legend back from the dead. The amount of map control that Concordia can now take, even though Raptors isn't in their control, construction perfectly fine. Even though Sonar goes down, I still believe in Concordia. With a 3v3, nothing is really instilling confidence in me that MKE can hold this entire site down.
They're going to need a little bit more than just confidence here, V. They're going to need a big moment of inspiration, so to say, to find some sort of adaptation that warrants them and nets them some kills, let alone the ability to deny Diffuser in its totality. They have a wonderful crossfire. One player, aka Roundy, stacked up on Raptors, does see the flank side of Jawbreaker, but can't go and secure for that kill, and instead will have to take a couple steps back. Finally, when Jawbreaker reaggresses, they'll pay the price, as Roundy's P90, though a P-shooter it is, has no problems finding the head when you shoot 50 rounds their way. And there goes the last 2 remaining players. For the side of Concordia, shockingly enough this time around, with MKE finding themselves a round win. You know, once every 4 is about standard right now for MKE when it comes to the rounds they like to play over and over again.
Sure. I guess if that's how things are going to go down. They get to go back to the basement, and this was one off of a 1v1, but it still was an objectively better site for MKE. They were able to hold down things much better, and even though the roamers didn't do the job, roamers haven't really done a lot of it. A lot of it has just come down to good plays on the actual site itself, from players holding down really powerful positions, and let's use basement as an example, holding down dirt, holding down air conditioning. Whoever is doing that will be an iron wall and win the gunfights. That is how MKE have been able to win their 2 rounds so far. They can continue to do that. Maybe actually just kind of keep everybody on site. I know that's like a drastic thing to do, and honestly, it's up to you whether or not it is a good decision, but I feel that with what MKE is able to do when they just kind of stay still and force Concordia to come to them, that is when they win gunfights.
Whether or not those gunfights will continue to be won is going to be a big question that's up in the air, but Concordia put themselves in a very good position to take this round last time we saw it. That's what I say, this objective last time we saw it. The absolute, I guess, finite ender that came down to it was a one-on-one when a very unfortunate player, I believe it was Sonar, tried to re-swing when not having hovering fire up Stepro, who was going for plant, and that created a couple complications. Sharkbait is a Kaid. You cannot Kaid Electro Trick if you're placing after the fact, and you would have to pick it up and then run. I'm not sure why they did what they just did, but they forfeit their life off the back of it, and that's CUW, once again, a first blood position in dominant control now over towards Dirt and Ton, where they can start to once again set up a pincer, which took them 2 minutes last time we saw it. Maybe this time around it'll be a little bit faster now that they know.
Sharkbait has been the opening death 4 rounds out of 6. I just want to kind of keep that in the know And they've played Kaid in most of those rounds. They have a C4. I will let you formulate your own opinion off of that. I would just like to let it be stated. But with MKE having a player down, with having, honestly, the floor kind of crumble beneath them, not a lot is instilling confidence within them. They still have that round that they won in the previous round as Vacuum. Having this 1v1 up top could really decide if Concordia... Well, that is not an orange body. That is your own teammate, but luckily no bullets collide, and now a lot of Concordia can focus their efforts onto Danny Destructo. They do kill him, and now a lot of other orange bodies follow. It's just Assured Legend and Roundy, the player that clutched out the last time we were on basement, but it's going to have to be a 1v5, Scott. They have done a lot in key situations, but I'm thinking this one may just be out of their hands.
Yeah, it's not very manageable now, is it, V? It is Roundy. Roundy has been, I would say, the better player of the MKE side. They're being pressured from that Moto hatch, and unfortunately, despite having the drop on them, not able to go for the kill. I'm also not sure why they turned away from their own Candela. You don't get blinded by it. That's what the blue tint is over your eyes.
I mean, it's like Warden, where people forget that Warden is immune to flash.
You have to actually actively use the intel for Warden, right? You have to actually use the intel to be immune. It's not the same thing with Candelas and Ying. Ying is just immune. Ying just is, right? You are in a state of being after you toss it. Maybe that's why. Either way, it doesn't seem to matter. They win that round very dominantly as well, might I add. The second flawless we've seen from them in that half alone, and it only nets them a 4-2 split, something that MKE didn't have the luxury of saying last go about it. At the very least now, they've got a manageable spot to work from. Let's say I think the minimum you need to make a solid point to say we are still in this and contending.
Yeah, it's not like Border, where it kind of felt like it was gone from the get-go. This is a manageable position. I think this round is going to be pretty pivotal, because once you get to a 5-2 scoreline, that is when the thoughts start to circulate of, okay, yeah, this map is eventually going to come to a certain result. But it's up to MKE how they start off their attack. Remember, on Border, they brought out the Yang, they brought out the Monty, and did some crazy plays that did win them the round. They're not doing that in this round, but it is a different map. Maybe their play style will net them something here as they bring the Maverick, Scott, along with the Cali. It is I think it's an interesting lineup, but I don't know if it's one that will get them anything, because Maverick overall, his play rate has just absolutely dropped to the bottom of the ocean when he lost his frag grenade. So clearly Roundy just wanting to get this wall open, bringing out Assured Legend to make it so they get some other walls, maybe get some construction. I think overall it's just to make Concordia feel a lot less safe, and it's a good thing to do quickly.
Yeah, I feel like the nades being stripped away was easily the thing that removed him from contention. On top of that, there are just better ways to go about these breaches now without needing somebody that is, I won't say in the most dangerous way to do it, but a dangerous way to do it nonetheless. It requires a little bit more time on that op to, I would say, fluidly clear away these walls, because you can just see just how much Roundy is truly struggling to map trick that wall. It takes them a while. Yes, they eventually do get it done in good time, but their life was quite risked to do so. It just came down to the fact that Concordia weren't really aggressing for that to deny. Stepbro maybe looking for the right time to swing out. Player at the ready, though, is Assured Legend. A wonderful swing with the AK-12, and that will even things up to a 4-on-4.
Good heads-up play by them. So now you use that Soma charge, open up that little area, and honestly a little risky, because you can see Sonar was trying to take out that Selma charge, and if they did, that is utility waste. It would be a little remiss if you suddenly lost Selma just for something as silly as that. But you did get the wall open, and now Augie gets dropped as he tries to drop from those rafters. And Garage has given up to MKE with really not much on their own side. So you're going to have to see whether Concordia are going to adapt to focus on that rafter like Vacuum is, or they're going to back up towards that cache area and just really wait for that execution to come. Use the C4 that Vacuum has, the C4 that is no longer existing, or those 3 smoke canisters that Sonar has.
just feel like right now CUW have not been building up a solid defensive front. It feels like they're waiting for MKE to come to them, and they're falling victim to the pressure that's broiling. Now it's going to be a post-plant scenario. Sure, Legend has no problem sticking it there. Sonar will be DB and O'd and quickly secured after the initial sniper shot, and it is a very easy win for the side of MKE by the end of that round, because to be quite frank, Concordia didn't have a solid defense. They felt like they were just sitting there and they didn't have somewhere to work with. Maybe that's just the de facto defending position when it comes to CCTV. It is a very difficult defending site. But if that's the case, why do you keep heading to it? As we'll now see CUW repeat the same mistake of heading to CCTV twice in a row. Hopefully not 3 or 4 times in a row like we were dreading for MKE.
Let's play the game. Stop going to CCTV cache. Where you stop going to CCTV cache. That is how you win the game. And none of these teams know how to win the game. Scott, I'm losing my mind. I don't understand what the fascination is with this side. I understand it has been a really good site for a really long time. Just please, somebody go to Gym Better. Please, make my day. Go to Gym Better. Bring out the castle that we see in Step Bro. I am going to lose it.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
A moment of silence for all of the objectives we'll never get to see on this map. Basement. We'll forget the times we did see it. It doesn't fit my point, so I won't mention it. Master bedroom gym. Stage and bar.
I mean, bar stage is still technically a legitimate site.
It is. It's good. Every time I've ever seen it since the rework, it has been won by the defense. That is a 100% rate. And I've seen it 9 times. That is an impressively high win rate for an objective. Of course, you have to be insane to pick it. And by insane, I mean you have to have really good strats for it. You have to have really practiced it. You can't just pick it up out of nowhere. So I'm assuming that those teams have done their work. I don't know if that's going to be done by these 2 teams here. But they have a little bit of insanity broiling up inside them as well by picking CCTV over and over again. I swear at some point we'll move beyond that, but it's such a glaring weakness, it's nigh impossible for us to move over it. Because of that, we're still in this state of denial, where CUW, falling into that short weakness of this CCTV side, are now a man down with Jawbreaker dying first, an extended position losing their life, and now at a man disadvantage where, yeah, they've got control, I guess, over towards Garage, but not in a very safe spot, as Augie will have nowhere to retreat to if that door leading into Garage gets broken, as there will more likely than not be a player sitting over towards that break side, or at least towards secret window we see repelled right now to cut off that angle.
Augie playing pretty close to that Garage door. Not up top, which Assured Legend is going to drone out. And I don't know if Jaeger is spotted. The drone is caught out, but I don't think the exact position of Augie is known. And that means that MKE can't really walk into Garage. They don't have the confidence. All they can do is hope that the Jaeger just walks into the Garage door, walks into the crosshair of somebody, which hopefully Augie will not do. They do get spotted by the drone, which Augie definitely does know. And here comes that EE1D scanner. Is anybody going to move off of it? Augie goes for a swing, does get one. Can they get anything else beyond that? No. They lose garage control, and they trade 1-to-1 life for it. Is that going to be enough for Concordia? Hold this as K9 Vacuum goes for the same flank again, but nobody is there to catch them. Stepbro goes on 10 kills, double digits in this game, and now Vacuum is free to walk into Raptors, maybe find the 2 clinching kills that Concordia needs to win CCTV.
Vacuum, you have a nitro cell. What are you doing? Still sit below. Diffuser going down, and you're nowhere near with the information to deny it with your nitro. Because of that, Roundy gets it down for free. Yes, there is a rotating angle to be held, and somehow, some way, It's not closed and secured by Vacuum and instead goes the way of Sonar. Hazer from outside that balcony, that eastern suburb, takes down one, and a great swing by Sonar to secure Hazer to find CUW their round win here in CCTV. But what an ugly one at that, a troublesome one. But I will say it's Concordia, a win is a win. I'm sure they're happy with their dub, but MKE finally will get to push another attacking site, which is what we've been looking for, V. I think that's what we all are happy to see first and foremost. Not that CUW take a round win, but that they can't play CCTV again.
I don't like that for MKE, though, because in your mind, you say, okay. I mean, I think it was a good push, but the fact that they weren't able to win it means that Concordia can go to basement. They don't have to continuously go to CCTV, lose it, give MKE the chance to actually start to mount a comeback. Now Concordia can go down to basement, even if they potentially lose one, it'll refresh eventually, and yeah, you kind of see where I'm going. You would hope that CCTV would eventually keep falling towards the attack, of which Concordia couldn't do anything about it because they would keep going to CCTV, and we would be back to an even game, but that's not what happened. The defense were able to win that 1v1, and now we're here. A site that has had, so far, a 50% chance for the defense. MKE won the 1v1, and then Concordia got that flawless round. So far, it's iffy for the defense, but so far, it's still good for Concordia.
Looking at this round for Concordia, they're going to need to have a heavy extension. They're going to need players offside to play. But let's remember how Concordia pushed MKE on this same exact side. Twice, they pushed through dirt tons quickly to set up a strong foothold to work from, and used that as a pivot point to go and kill off and secure the round win. First one wasn't a win. Could have been a win. I'll give him at least that credit. It was a 2v1. But the second one was a very, very solid win because they used that as a pivot point and not just its point of entry. Concordia, if they are extended off site like they are, which is the right idea for this basement site, they need to make sure that MKE do not cut off their retreats. They need to make sure that that rotate hole has been made inside construction and that they have that availability to them to drop safely into bar and stage and then make the retreat maybe down through secret or just through main stairs if they can make it there fast enough. Stepbro, currently watching in bar, this is their recovery position to work from, but there's so much intel being gathered by MKE slowly off the back of this INOX scanner by the hands of Roundy 2, just waiting for the right time and the footsteps to be seen, as well as the plethora of drones we currently see right now moving there and about, just missing the vigil as their util will deny that information.
And a good drop there. Not a good drop from Hazer, a good read from Vacuum to make it. So the only set of frag grenades is completely taken off the board, and the amount of time that MKE has isn't really comfortable. They haven't taken care of any of the roamers, and Roundy, whose job it is to take down roamers, is still very slowly working through CCTV cache. But now the job will just be done. And swift and quick succession, Stepbro is going to have to come back to site, provide good moral support on the actual site itself, and hope that it's going to be enough to repel that attack from MKE. Put Concordia on map match series point. We'll just have to see how the dice is going to be rolled, Scott.
Well, the dice may be rolled, but ultimately it will be up to dealer's luck, as house typically always wins. We'll have to see if the house, so to say, of Concordia, as this is their house, will be enough to overcome what MKE brought to the table. Apparently, Jawbreaker's position still unknown to Sharkbait, despite having lost their teammates there just moments prior. Doesn't seem to be a big deal. One player up inside hatch from that kitchen side is trying to give an overhead angle. However, retreating away to join Roundy all the way down towards that central staircase. They're going to lose their lives as quick as they can as they try to rush forward. Long shots from Stepbro, though they die after a trade. Sonar will re-swing and guarantee that this round falls in favor of Concordia, who now have to pick a tertiary site. Will it be bar and stage, or will they fall up to Master Bedroom and Gym as they have finally hit match point here on our second map?
And which one is going to be the best site out of the two? You were talking about bar and stage, we're not going to see bar and stage. We're going to see what, honestly, we've actually seen from some teams as more a primary site. They start out in gym bedroom and then work out from everything else beyond that. But it's the first time out of 10 rounds that we are seeing gym bedroom. That is not going to happen often. In Concordia, they're bringing out not a lot that you might usually see. There's not some castle. There is that Aruni that should be able to provide that window coverage. But honestly, everything that I'm looking at is probably going to come down to cash. The roam hunt that was... It was bad until it wasn't, Scott. And I think that was because Concordia just got a little antsy, was looking for more kills, and MKE just kind of was waiting for them. And like I talked about it forever ago, that is what they do best. That is when they win gunfights, is when Concordia comes to them, and as long as the roamers don't do that, this could be the last round.
When you're looking at a last round scenario like this, or I guess I'll say it like this, a possible last round scenario like you have here for Concordia, it's all about where you're going to choose to defend from. Some teams will opt to soft hold the eastern suburb side, aka CCTV and cash. Some will opt for a bit more of a, I guess, foothold to work from. That's what we're seeing right now from Concordia. They made a stronghold in cash. Fully reinforced, electroclawed up, they've got total denial. That is the difference maker we're seeing, but now we've got a new problem brewing up on this jacuzzi side. MKE have now used 2 of their Kali utility and has not found themselves the Electroclaw to gain that intel. Thankfully, you clear the mute jammer that's slightly misplaced, and you can put yourself in a spot to gather the intel for the Electroclaw and clear it away just as quickly. Will this one get it? Finally! That's its destruction, and that wall will be doomed to be destroyed, and Concordia will now need to watch that side. However, they've given up majority control of that bathroom and gym side. They're going to play the long angle with the information from the default and play there instead. However, Talon shield out, and it doesn't matter how much intel you gain. You can't shoot through it, buddy. Sorry to break it to you.
Drones being utilized by MKE. They have a lot. They've got 8 that they can utilize. But it's not only the information. It's what you do off of that information. How can you act upon it? How can you secure kills? I don't know how Augie lived there. I felt that that tracer shot them in the arm, but they live. And I think Augie will be thanking their lucky stars that they're going to be able to not even take any damage, still utilize that C4, and still provide coverage from the stairs. No kills this entirety of this round with 60 seconds left, and a short legend is just in.
They're in.
Nobody on Concordia knows this. Augie can throw a C4, but isn't aware that the diffuser was going down. Complete mishap by Concordia, and this should be an MKE round, lest a huge comeback by Augie. The 1v5 is going to have to be completed.
I think at this point here for Concordia, Augie will play this like a tactical timeout and just be able to talk things through about what went wrong. I don't think that's going to be the actual scenario to take place, as MKE will net themselves a flawless round win, maybe trying to match up to what Concordia did on their attacking turn. However, it doesn't seem to matter. MKE are very happy with the ending result there, but Concordia still at match point can decide, well, let's go back to our favorite objective, CCTV in cash room. My least favorite, and should be everyone's least favorite objective in all of Rainbow Six Siege. I don't like this. The issue is Concordia only ever leave this objective defensively once they've won it and can no longer go back there. Problem is, the likelihood of that is slim considering the odds that are already present. Maybe a 50%er for them right now. And if that's the case, this round or next, and you make a couple mistakes in this round and the next, it's likely for this very difficult objective. And we're seeing OT on MKE's map pick, and they've got momentum, which is very dangerous to face off against.
Yeah, with how little of a lead Concordia has, only 2 rounds, we are on the cusp, I think, of going into overtime. The good thing is Concordia, if they don't win this, they have the chance to go to basement, which I feel like at that point, you should go to basement. You had a much better basement than your multiple CCTV rounds that have been tried. It was a 1v1 when Concordia won CCTV, and going here again, I mean, that is your only option, but it's still just not as strong as your basement. Now, my word of advice, you have that 2-round lead. Use one of them to maybe put that finishing touch on this entire match, because going to a map 3, I don't even want to fathom going to a map 3, because I feel like Concordia can just really put the period in this entire book.
First shot will connect for CUW. It's Augie on top of Rafters, knocking down Danny Destructo. I'm sure Danny Produso, our producer behind the scenes, is a bit shocked about that one. I'm sure every time we say Danny, and I've been thinking about it the whole time, every time we say Danny is probably getting very annoyed and confused on the initial uptake. Either way, it doesn't seem to matter. We'll move over past that. Roundy gets taken off the board as well. And I think that's just after their initial hard nav tricking of that wall. Augie with a second final blood. This one onto Hazer, and yeah, Assured Legend is the only gun up in this engagement. The shield rework has not yet hit the market, and Shark Bait may just be bait themselves to try to give Assured Legend as much of a fighting chance as possible. But assuredly, they'll need to break down the rest of this wall, because there's no way the shield is making it through that one. Fortified up, at least. They'll have to crouch and drop it to really sneak their way in, and that's just not a viable solution right now for the 2 remaining players of MKE.
Right now, it's a living drone and 1 gun for the Assured Legend, and they make their decision to push through stock. C4 does go out, doesn't do any damage, and a C4, not a C4, a Claymore actually shuts down Augie, but unfortunately, that will be Sharkbait's last decision to unfortify as the Montaigne. 1v4 is going to be the final play that we are going to be at. Is somebody going to hop out, go for the little wrap around stock? Because at this point, stock is just Assured Legend's grave. It has to be the 1v3. 30 seconds left. There's no way you put the diffuser down. There's no way that Concordia surely would throw 3 bodies with this much time left. You would have to say that this would be it. But as the timer ticks down, Assured Legend has a decision to make, and that is only one decision. Go forward. Take some damage through smoke canister. Walk through a C4. Death around all corners. It is Concordia, University of Wisconsin. Take the 2-0 and win in this week of NECC.
GGCUW. And I'm sure they're very happy with that CU dub, as a lot of them have been trying to coin it here in the chat for this Twitch stream. Either way, I'm sure they're very happy with the result in general. A 7-4 split for map 2 is not bad whatsoever, especially after the very dominant performance they had on map 1 on Border, which they took very well, considering they had a nigh flawless first half against them, which is an oddity to say when you're doing that on the attack on a map like that. Doesn't seem to matter too much, though. They'll escape week 4 unscathed, and now heading into week 5. I believe that puts them, 3-1 now up to this point, if I recollect correctly. They have done a very successful season so far. 3-1 is nothing to scoff at. I don't believe we have the standings for this division readily available. I know that's something we do for Valorant, but I don't know if that's something we do for R6 here, V. As I missed last week, and I cannot remember what it is we do for R6 here. And I did Valorant yesterday, so I just remember it. But I'm sure with a 3-1 stat line, Concordia are in a position where they can tell any team in the division, any team here, that we are going to contend against you. Yeah, we took a bit of a tough loss. That's not a huge deal against us. Every other team's going to face just as hard a loss against us here.
And honestly, this match was kind of a message as well. It felt like, even though we saw on Clubhouse it was 7-4, there were times where maybe we thought it was going to go in MKE's corner. They always set the record straight. They always made a good gunfight decision. They were always able to win those gunfights, and that's always going to be needed, especially for this caliber of a team. But that is going to be it for us tonight at NECC on the B stream. It's getting pretty late. We've avoided the midnight candle burning just a little bit before, but right now, I mean, that, like I said, that is it for us, Scott.
Yeah. It's been a good game though, Fia. So I feel
Yeah,
very happy.
it was
to
it
send
was
this
it was
on out
exciting.
here.
Yeah, Philly.
Yeah. I will point out one thing before we go. Concordia had a wonderful border, and it wasn't just from them winning gunfights and making confident decisions. Their drone work was pristine. It was very obvious why that was their map pick. It was a little lackluster when it got switched over to Clubhouse, but I do like to believe that was a little bit of MKE adapting and realizing their shortcomings and picking up on those and destroying that information before it could be found, because the map's a lot smaller and the drones can't hide away as quickly. Either way, that's it. We have here for tonight, V. My name's Infernosis. I'm enjoyed here by Light Rose, aka V. Thank you guys very much for watching. And continue to watch the NECC, whether here on the B stream or on the A stream, as more games are coming out this week and following in for the rest of the season. Stay tuned for more.